The sirens wailed so loudly that no one heard the first explosion, but Captain Elena Rivera felt it in her ribs. And strangely absurdly, the very next thought she had was that she really shouldn't be noticing how stunning Lieutenant Harper Quinn looked while the world was falling apart. Chaos had a sick sense of timing. The base in Arizona had always been a place of strict rules, clean lines, and predictable days. But that morning the desert heat carried something else, something rotten, something wrong. Before the alarm even blared, Elena had sensed tension rippling through the air like static. And now, running through the smoky corridor of the communications wing, she tasted fear on her tongue like metal. Harper was already there, her hands flying across the control panels as she tried to re-establish contact with command. Sparks flickered from a blown fuse near her face, but she didn't flinch. Elena had seen hundreds of soldiers under pressure, but Harper did it with a calm intensity that made it hard to look away. "Quinn status," Elena snapped, breathless from sprinting across the compound. Harper turned, her blue eyes sharp despite the haze drifting through the room. "External communications down. Internal channels corrupted. Someone did this intentionally." "That's what I was afraid of." Elena stepped closer, scanning the screens, standing so near she could smell the faint citrus of Harper's shampoo beneath the smoke. Ridiculous. Not the time. Not the place. Not the person. Yet her pulse kicked anyway. Harper's fingers paused on the keyboard. "Ma'am. Captain. Elena," she said quietly, only loud enough for her. "There's something else." Elena met her eyes, and for a single suspended heartbeat, the bass noise faded. In that moment Harper looked frightened, not of enemy fire, not of alarms, but of a truth she wasn't sure she should say. Elena had seen that expression once before 2 months ago late at night, in the empty training room, after a sparring session that ended with Elena pinning Harper to the mat, the air between them charged and dangerous in a way neither dared acknowledge. "What is it?" Elena asked, voice low. Harper's lashes fluttered. "I think the breach came from inside the base." The floor shook as another explosion went off somewhere far behind them. Paperwork flew. The lights dimmed. Elena's hand instinctively found Harper's elbow, steadying her. "We need to move." Harper nodded and grabbed her tablet. Elena led her through the doorway, shielding her from debris. They ran down the smoking hallway, boots pounding, shoulders brushing again and again. Every accidental touch felt like another betrayal to a rulebook Elena had lived by her whole adult life. Outside, soldiers sprinted in every direction, shouting instructions, dragging hoses, loading vehicles. Dust hung in the sunlit air as if the world were suspended mid-fall. Harper coughed into her sleeve. "Captain, something about this doesn't add up. This level of sabotage." "I know." Elena guided her toward the command post. "We'll piece it together inside." Harper hesitated mid-step, turning to look at her as if weighing whether to say something more. "Elena, you don't have to act like you don't feel it. Not right now. Not when everything around us is." Elena froze. "Harper, don't. It's just the truth." "Not now. We can't." Harper's jaw clenched, hurt flickering across her features before she masked it with professionalism. "Understood, ma'am." Elena hated the slice of distance that suddenly carved itself between them. Hated that the military taught them how to save lives, but never how to navigate something as fragile and reckless as love. The command post was a frenzy of officers and clipped orders. Elena shoved down everything personal, focusing on the crisis. Harper stood beside her, shoulder to shoulder, speaking concisely, analyzing data, identifying gaps in security with razor precision. But every time their eyes met, something in Elena's chest tightened like a fist. The general arrived, smoke-scuffed and furious. "Captain Rivera, report." Elena straightened. "We believe the system's breach originated internally." Lieutenant Quinn traced the corrupted code to a source in the West Barracks. Harper stepped forward. "Sir, I believe the saboteur is still on base." The general's face hardened. "Find them." As soon as he left, Harper's hand brushed Elena's barely, accidentally, but Elena felt it like a spark straight up her spine. Harper withdrew instantly. "Sorry." "Don't be," Elena murmured before she could stop herself. Harper blinked at her, startled by the softness in her voice. A young private rushed in with urgent intel. "Captain Rivera. A vehicle just forced entry at the south gate. No insignia. No authorization." Elena cursed under her breath. Harper with me. They headed out again, weaving through smoke-filled courtyards. The sun blazed overhead, casting sharp shadows across the concrete. Helicopters roared overhead, kicking dust into spirals around them. Harper spoke as they jogged. Elena, I've been analyzing the sabotage patterns. Whoever did this had high-level clearance. How high? Harper swallowed. Our level. Elena stopped dead in her tracks. You think someone in our division sabotaged the base? I think someone wants us to believe it was foreign interference, Harper said, breath catching. But the signature is masked too cleanly. And why tell me alone? Elena asked carefully. Harper looked at her, eyes full of something raw. Because I trust you. More than anyone. Silence swelled between them, heavy and fragile. A shot rang out. Elena reacted instinctively, tackling Harper behind a concrete barrier. Dust puffed around them as bullets pinged nearby. Elena stayed pressed against Harper, shielding her with her body. Harper's breath hitched. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. Elena's voice was fierce with emotion she'd tried too long to bury. They locked eyes, adrenaline and something deeper mixing into a terrifying, unstoppable pull. Harper lifted a shaky hand, touching Elena's cheek. When this is over, she whispered, please don't pretend you don't feel what I feel. Another bullet sliced the air, forcing them apart. A soldier shouted from across the yard. Saboteur fleeing north side. Elena grabbed Harper's wrist and pulled her to her feet. Come on. They sprinted after the fleeing shadow, weaving between vehicles. The midday sun burned their backs. The wind whipped Harper's hair loose from her bun, strands flying around her face, making her look wild and heartbreakingly beautiful. Left! Harper yelled, pointing. They cut sharply between two storage buildings, but the saboteur was fast, ducking into the loading bay. Elena reached for her sidearm. Stay behind me, she ordered. Harper bristled. Not a chance. They pushed forward together. Inside the loading bay, the air was eerily still. A single light flickered overhead. Metal crates stood like silent walls. Footsteps echoed faintly. Elena scanned the shadows. Quinn, take the left flank. Got it. They moved silently, years of training syncing their steps like choreography. Elena tracked a blurred figure slipping behind a stack of crates. There. Harper called, darting forward. Wait, Harper. Too late. A crash sounded, followed by Harper's startled cry. Elena rounded the corner and found Harper pinned by the saboteur, who held a knife to her throat. Time stopped. Let her go, Elena growled, gun raised. The saboteur smirked. Orders were to cause chaos, not kill. But you two made this easy. Elena's finger tightened on the trigger. Harper met her eyes not with fear, but with trust so profound it nearly unraveled Elena on the spot. Then Harper twisted sharply, elbowing the attacker and breaking free. Elena fired once. The saboteur dropped. Harper stumbled into Elena's arms, shaking. Elena held her tightly, pressing her forehead to Harper's temple. You scared the hell out of me, Elena whispered. Harper laughed breathlessly. You say that like it's something new. Elena almost smiled. Almost. But the danger wasn't over. Footsteps thundered as backup arrived. Officers swarmed the scene. Harper straightened, professionalism snapping back into place. Elena stepped slightly away, suddenly aware of how long she had held her. A colonel approached them. Rivera. Quinn. Report to debriefing ASAP. Harper nodded. Yes, sir. But as soon as the colonel walked off, Harper leaned closer and murmured, when we're alone again, you're not running from this. This. The thing Elena had denied, buried, suffocated. The thing she knew could get them both court-martialed. Yet when Harper looked at her with that fierce, unguarded tenderness, Elena felt her defenses crumble like sand under a rising tide. She didn't answer. Not yet. But her silence wasn't rejection and Harper saw it. Her smile was small, hopeful, trembling. They walked back toward headquarters, the world still burning around them. Yet something new had sparked between them, fragile, impossible, and more powerful than either of them dared admit. Inside the debriefing room, chaos reigned. Officers argued about protocol, motives, intel maps scattered across the table. Elena and Harper were asked to recount everything. But even as Elena spoke of tactical decisions and coded sabotage, Her mind kept wandering to the way Harper's hand had trembled in hers. The way her voice softened when she said Elena's name. The way danger peeled back their layers until only truth remained. Hours later, when the base finally calmed, when the fires were controlled and the suspects detained, Elena slipped outside for air. The sky was turning amber with sunset. Harper found her there. "Thought you might be here," she said quietly. Elena didn't turn. "You should get some rest." "So should you." Harper stepped closer. "But that's not why you're hiding out here." Elena sighed, tension creeping into her shoulders. "Harper, today was honest," Harper finished softly. Elena closed her eyes. "Say something," Harper whispered, voice trembling. "Please." Elena turned at last, and what she saw nearly broke her. Harper, standing in the desert light, eyes shining with hope she was almost afraid to feel. Elena stepped toward her. One step, then another. Harper didn't breathe. Elena lifted a hand and gently tucked a strand of hair behind Harper's ear. Her thumb brushed Harper's cheekbone, slow, reverent. "Harper," she whispered, "I feel everything you feel." Harper's breath shuddered out of her. "But," Elena continued, voice cracking, "I don't know how to be what you want. Not here. Not like this." Harper's eyes softened. "Then we'll figure it out. Together." Elena swallowed hard. "It's not that easy. Most worthwhile things never are." For a moment they just stood there, bathed in fading sunlight, the world quiet around them for the first time that day. Elena let her forehead rest against Harper's. A silent confession. A fragile surrender. Harper's hand slid into hers. This time Elena didn't pull away. The night dropped over the Arizona base like a heavy curtain, muffling the lingering chaos into distant echoes. Most of the fires had been put out, most of the suspects detained, and yet an unnerving silence seeped through the compound. Silence always came after chaos, but never comfortably. Elena and Harper stood beneath the cooling desert sky, their fingers loosely interlaced. Neither knew how long they had been standing like that, minutes, maybe hours. Time had stopped obeying rules the moment they admitted even a fraction of the truth pulsing between them. A faint breeze carried the scent of diesel, sand, and ash. Harper leaned her head lightly against Elena's shoulder. "Feels strange," she murmured. "The quiet. Like it's pretending to be peaceful." Elena nodded. "Peace doesn't come that easily around here." Harper looked up at her, studying her face as if trying to memorize every line, every shadow. "You're thinking again." "I'm always thinking." "That's the problem," Harper whispered, almost amused. Elena let out a shaky laugh. "Yeah." Harper's hand squeezed hers gently. "Let's get some sleep. There will be more briefings in the morning." Elena hesitated. "Harper." "I know," Harper said softly. "Rules. Protocol. Regulations tattooed across your soul." The teasing made Elena wince because it was painfully accurate. Harper noticed and gently nudged her arm. "Hey, I'm not asking you to throw away your career in a single night." "Feels like that's exactly what's happening," Elena whispered. Harper stepped in closer, lifting Elena's chin with 2 fingers. "No, what's happening is real, and terrifying, and completely out of our control. But it's not wrong." Elena's breath caught. Wrong. That word had haunted her for months. Harper didn't let her look away. "You can be scared," she whispered, "but don't call this wrong." Before Elena could answer, a crackle sounded from the radio clipped to her belt. A sharp, clipped voice came through. "Captain Rivera. Report to security office 2 immediately." Elena stiffened. Harper's eyes widened. "That's unusual." Elena exhaled slowly. "Yeah, very." She unclasped their hands reluctantly. Harper watched it happen, a flicker of pain crossing her face before she masked it. "Go. I'll be in the comms wing if you need me." Elena wanted to say she needed Harper right now more than anything, but the words died before they reached her tongue. Instead, she nodded and turned away. As she walked, she felt Harper's gaze on her back until the shadows swallowed her. Security Office 2 was dimly lit, a single fluorescent light humming overhead. A chill draft crept along the floor. Elena entered and found 2 intelligence officers waiting beside a stack of classified folders. One of them, Major Rowan, stood with his arms crossed tightly. "Captain." "Sit." Elena obeyed, spine straight, jaw tense. Rowan slid a file toward her. You and Lieutenant Quinn made contact with the saboteur first, correct? Yes, Elena said. We neutralized the threat. That's not the issue, Rowan said flatly. The issue is what he said before he died. Elena's pulse quickened. Meaning? Rowan leaned forward. He wasn't acting alone. And according to his intel, someone inside the command structure has been supplying information for weeks. Elena kept her face still. Do you have a suspect? Rowan tapped the folder twice. Several. He opened it. Elena's breath hitched. Harper Quinn's photo stared back at her from the top of the stack. For a heartbeat, Elena felt nothing. Then everything. No, she said immediately. Absolutely not. She traced the breach. She identified internal sabotage. Which makes her look very clever, Rowan cut in. Too clever. The kind of clever that could create a problem and then step in to solve it. That's not who she is, Elena said, voice tight. Rowan raised an eyebrow. You seem very certain. Because I know her, Elena said without hesitation. He watched her for a beat, eyes narrowing. Captain Rivera. Are you and Lieutenant Quinn involved personally? Elena's heart slammed so hard she almost flinched. She didn't blink. No, sir. Rowan held her gaze a long moment, clearly unconvinced but lacking proof. The investigation will proceed regardless, he said. Quinn is suspended from all systems access effective immediately. The words hit Elena like a physical blow. I strongly advise you, Rowan continued, to keep your distance from her until we clear her name, or confirm her guilt. Elena's fists clenched. Sir, you're making a mistake. She's not capable of this. Rowan sighed impatiently. You're dismissed, Captain. Elena stormed out before her anger could get her court-martialed. Outside, she sucked in deep breaths of cold desert air, trying to steady her trembling hands. Harper. Suspended. Suspected. Elena's chest burned. She moved quickly, heading toward the comms wing. When she turned the corner, she found Harper exactly where she said she'd been kneeling by an open circuit panel, sleeves rolled up, hair messy, face smudged with grease, trying to repair the damage left from the sabotage. She looked up as soon as she heard Elena's footsteps. Elena, what happened? You look. They think it's you, Elena whispered. Harper froze. For a moment she didn't breathe, didn't blink, didn't move. Then her voice cracked. You're joking. I wish I was. Harper stood slowly, disbelief and hurt crashing across her face. But I'm the one who found the breach. I tried to prevent. I know. Then why? Because they need someone to blame, Elena said, stepping closer. And you're brilliant. They think it's too convenient. Harper swallowed hard, eyes bright with anger and betrayal. Elena, you don't think Elena grabbed her shoulders? No. Never. Not for a second. Harper exhaled shakily, relief washing over her face before something darker replaced it. So what do we do? I'm not letting them railroad you, Elena said. But you need to be careful. Effective immediately. You're suspended from system access. Harper let out a broken, bitter laugh. Great. They want to paint me as a traitor and take away the one thing that proves I'm not. Harper. Elena cupped her cheek. We're going to fix this. Harper leaned into her touch for a second, eyes fluttering closed, before pulling away, pacing, agitated. This is bigger than sabotage. Elena, what if someone framed me? That's exactly what I'm thinking. Harper stopped pacing. Then we have to find out who. Elena nodded. We will. But we have to do it quietly. If Rowan's suspects were working together, he'll shut us down. Harper stepped closer again, lowering her voice. Then we don't tell anyone. Not a soul. Elena nodded. Harper's eyes softened. Thank you. For believing me. Elena felt something twist warm and painful inside her. There was never a question. Harper exhaled shakily. I'm scared. I know. Elena brushed a thumb across her hand. But you're not alone. The moment stretched, fragile and real, until footsteps echoed from a nearby hallway. Harper quickly stepped away. An officer passed by without noticing them. When he was gone, Harper whispered, Meet me in 20 minutes. Storage Building 5. Security cameras are down from the explosions. We can talk freely there. Elena nodded once. Harper slipped out the back door. Elena waited a moment before following a different route. The storage building loomed at the edge of the base, dark, nearly empty, filled with old equipment and forgotten crates. Elena stepped inside quietly. Harper was already there, leaning against a crate, arms folded, trying to look braver than she felt. Elena, what if this ruins everything? Harper whispered. It won't, Elena said. Not if we stay smart. Harper pushed off the crate and stepped toward her. Staying smart is easier when you're not terrified. Elena pulled her close without thinking, arms wrapping around her tightly. Harper melted into the embrace, burying her face against Elena's neck. Elena closed her eyes, gripping Harper's back as if she could shield her from the world. For a moment they stayed like that, breathing the same air, sharing the same fear, the same warmth, the same impossible longing. Harper's voice came out muffled. I hate this. I hate that they're coming after me. I hate that we can't just. She broke off, voice cracking. Elena pressed her lips to Harper's temple, soft, instinctive, full of everything she couldn't say out loud. Harper shuddered. If they take you away from me, I won't survive it. Elena pulled back just enough to look into her eyes. No one is taking me away. Harper nodded, but her eyes were still wet. We're going to find who framed you, Elena said firmly. Whoever did this slipped up somewhere. We just have to find the thread. Harper wiped her eyes roughly. Then let's start with the breach logs. Before they suspended me, I copied a few files onto my tablet. There was something strange in the metadata, like someone accessed the system remotely using command-level clearance. Elena frowned. Remote access is impossible without one of the encryption keys. Harper nodded grimly. Exactly. So the traitor has a key. Or stole one, Harper added. Elena's jaw tightened. Do you know which key it was? Harper hesitated. Yes. Whose? Harper swallowed. Yours. The words hit Elena like a punch. My key, she said, stunned. Harper, I know, Harper said immediately, grabbing her hands. I know you didn't. But that's why this is bad. Someone wanted to frame you too. Elena's pulse roared in her ears. They attacked the base, Harper continued softly. But they also attacked us. Elena stepped back, mind racing. This isn't sabotage. It's a setup. Harper nodded. Someone wants to destroy us. Both of us. Elena looked at her, really looked at her, and suddenly it all made sense. The timing. The targeting. The suspicion. Someone on the inside wasn't just sabotaging the base. They were sabotaging Elena and Harper. Elena took a steadying breath. Then we fight back. Harper's lips trembled into a determined smile. Together. Elena cupped Harper's face gently. Always. Harper's breath trembled as she leaned into the touch, eyes closing for a brief, vulnerable moment. Then she opened them again, clearer, fiercer, braver. Then let's bring them down, Harper whispered. And just like that, the real war began. The night was thick with tension, the base eerily quiet under the desert sky, as if holding its breath for what was about to unfold. Elena and Harper had spent hours poring over stolen files, encrypted messages, and security logs. Every piece of evidence pointed to a single chilling conclusion. The traitor had orchestrated every misstep, every false lead, every moment of doubt that had threatened to tear them apart. Harper traced a finger across the tablet's screen, her brow furrowed. They've covered their tracks meticulously. Whoever this is, they know exactly how we think, how we operate. Elena leaned over, reading the lines of code Harper highlighted. It's almost personal, she murmured, a shiver running down her spine. They're not just trying to sabotage the base theory, trying to get inside our heads. Harper looked up at her, eyes wide but resolute. Then we'll beat them at their own game. Elena swallowed hard. Are you sure about this? Harper's hand found hers again, warm and steady. I'm sure. As long as we stick together. The plan was dangerous but simple. Lure the traitor into making a move and catch them red-handed. It meant putting themselves in the same corridors they had run from just days ago, retracing steps through chaos that still smelled faintly of smoke and fear. But neither hesitated. As they moved through the shadowed hallways, Elena felt Harper close beside her, their shoulders brushing, fingers occasionally grazing each touch, sending sparks through her nerves, reminding her that amidst the danger, there was this undeniable, fragile, and terrifying bond. They reached the main server room, the hub of the base's intelligence. The doors had been left unlocked. A calculated invitation. Elena pressed a hand against Harper's back. "On 3, she whispered. 1, 2, 3. The lights flickered as they entered. And then they saw him. Colonel Mason, a man whose reputation for ruthlessness was known throughout the base, crouched by a console, hands flying over the keyboard. His eyes widened as he saw them. Captain Rivera. Lieutenant Quinn. Elena stepped forward, steady and cold. "Put down the console, Mason. We know everything." Mason laughed, a low, dangerous sound. "You think you understand? You think you're clever enough to stop this?" Harper moved beside Elena, her chest rising and falling rapidly. "We understand more than you realize," she said. Her voice held steel, but her hand found Elena's, squeezing it tight. Mason's expression darkened. "You've been played from the beginning. Do you really think I would risk everything here for nothing?" Elena's pulse raced. "Then it's over. We have proof files, logs, and you just confirmed it." Mason's laugh turned bitter. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." Before he could react further, Harper pressed a hidden key sequence on the tablet, instantly locking down the servers and triggering the security cameras. Lights flashed, alarms buzzed. Soldiers arrived moments later, alerted by the lockdown sequence. Mason realized he was trapped. Elena advanced, her hand steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "It's over, Mason. Surrender." Mason hesitated, glancing at Harper. You always were clever." Harper's eyes didn't waver. "And you just forgot who you were dealing with." The soldiers restrained him, and the room finally quieted. Elena exhaled, relief washing over her like a tidal wave. Harper turned to her, breathless. "We did it." Elena allowed herself a shaky laugh. "We did it. Together." For a moment the world outside ceased to exist. No chaos, no suspicion, no danger, just the two of them, standing amidst the glow of flickering monitors and the faint hum of machinery. Elena reached out, tucking a strand of Harper's hair behind her ear. I can't tell you how relieved I am to have you here," Elena whispered. Harper tilted her head, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I'm not going anywhere. Ever." And then, finally, the weight of months of unspoken words, stolen glances, and impossible longing broke through. Elena leaned in, brushing her lips against Harper's in a soft, tentative kiss. Harper responded instantly, hands clutching at Elena's waist, pulling her close. The kiss deepened, not just a release of desire but a release of fear, of tension, of the unbearable pressure of hiding who they were and what they felt. In that moment nothing else existed. When they finally pulled back, foreheads pressed together, their breaths mingling, Harper whispered, "I love you." Elena's chest tightened. "I love you too. More than I ever allowed myself to admit." They stood like that for several long, suspended moments, the quiet of the night wrapping around them. Outside, the base was still recovering from the sabotage. But inside here they had found something indestructible, each other. The following days were a whirlwind of investigations, debriefings, and the slow process of clearing Harper's name. Every time they were separated by duty, a silent thread connected the man, unspoken promise of safety, loyalty, and love. When Harper's suspension was lifted, Elena was there to meet her, standing at the edge of the training grounds. Harper ran toward her, laughter spilling over in relief and joy. Elena caught her, spinning her around in a dizzying embrace. "You're back," Elena said, her voice shaking. Harper grinned, pulling back just enough to look into Elena's eyes. "I never left." Over the following weeks, the base returned to routine, but Elena and Harper had found a new rhythm between them. Training sessions, missions, briefings, they faced them all side by side. The world outside could still be chaotic, uncertain, even cruel. But inside their little corner, there was safety, trust, and love. One evening, after the last debriefing of the day, they found themselves alone on the rooftop, gazing at the stars stretching across the Arizona sky. The desert air was cool, carrying the faint scent of sage and earth. Harper leaned against Elena, shoulder to shoulder. "I never thought I'd feel this," she said softly. Elena smiled, pressing her lips to the top of Harper's head. Neither did I. And yet here we are. Harper tilted her head up to meet Elena's gaze. Promise me we'll never go back to hiding. No matter what happens. Elena cupped her face gently, thumbs brushing against Harper's cheekbones. I promise. We'll face everything together, from chaos to calm, from fear to love. Harper smiled, a soft, radiant curve that made Elena's heart ache with joy. Together, she echoed. They kissed again, this time without hesitation or fear, a seal on their unbreakable bond. The stars above seemed to shimmer brighter, witnessing the promise that had blossomed amid explosions, deceit, and fear. Months later, the base would remember the sabotage, the near catastrophe, the bravery of two officers who refused to be broken. But Elena and Harper remembered something far more intimate. The moment they discovered that love could thrive even in the harshest of deserts, even in the midst of chaos, even in the most unlikely of places. And as the sun rose over the horizon, painting the desert sky in hues of gold and rose, Elena and Harper walked hand in hand, ready to face the world together, fearless, free, and undeniably in love. Because some bonds are forged not just in fire, but in trust, courage, and the quiet moments of vulnerability that transform fear into hope and two hearts into one. The base would continue to hum with duty, orders, and the ever-present echo of military life. But for Elena and Harper, amidst the calm after the storm, there was only this: laughter, whispered promises, stolen kisses in hallways, and the infinite possibility of tomorrow together. The chaos had tested them. The shadows had tried to break them. But love, wild, tender, unstoppable, had won. And that was more than enough. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.